there anything that you didn't look at in the first preseason game that maybe you're going to try to introduce to the next couple?
We've had some different looks on, well, not, some things we ran last year or ran in the past. So we're going to continually add different things, Keith, as we get closer. That way we can have as much of that stuff in as possible and see how it plays in the exhibition season. So we'll continue to do that. We've added some things defensively, some different looks. So will continue to add and as we go along.
Yes. From going from Mason last year as a center to obviously different look this year, do you change the playbook, or you just
there's different options. I mean, you have the pop options out of some of them instead of rolling. It just becomes a little bit more efficient offensively. No disrespect to Mason whatsoever, but just the ability to stretch the floor with some of our plays and sets and looks just gives you another weapon at that position. So you really can space the floor, and Kelly is such a smart player that he can handle the ball. He can, you can set guard screens on him, 1-5, 1 setting it on 5, 2 setting it on 5, and get some different looks. So, and because he is a good passer.
And you said, I think it was a media day, you said you had a man crush on him for a while. Where did that really start? Did it have anything to do with him being from Toronto?
When I was in Toronto, he was always, when we played against Boston, it was always nip and tuck for that top spot in the East with Boston at that time, and he was nip and tuck, so he was always a pain in our behind. So we had to always game plan for him. Then he goes to Miami, same situation where he's stretching the floor and shooting the ball from outside. So you just admire the way a guy plays when you're playing against him or coaching against him. And, and then he has the Canadian connection. So he was really popular anytime his team came into Toronto.
Was K in the fold having another ball handler potentially in that starting unit? And from what we've seen from Sadiq in terms of just his assertiveness and getting more shots up, is Jeremy going to have to adjust how he eases into games offensively, or do you think as the season gets on?
No, I don't think so. I think Jeremy's game translates the way he played. I think it's probably more efficient at certain points of the game, especially late in the game or at the end of possession when you need a bucket. He can create his own shot as you're attacking the offense. The 0.5 moving the basketball comes into play a little bit more. But Jeremy is such an efficient, such a talented scorer. I think his game will translate will mix into any style of play. And you're right, our second unit is more of a up-tempo and ball movement type team. And the first unit is more of a create your own shot, because Sadiq can create his own shot also.
Mm-hmm. I just got a couple questions from Zoom.
Okay.
First, we're going to go to Dwane Casey.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Coach, with such emphasis being placed on non-basketball moves this year, what do you want to see called early in the season that lets you know, okay, they're on top of this? What they talked about all summer, they're on top of this because they're calling this, this, or this.
Well, I'm on the competition committee, so I was in all those meetings and making those decisions. And we watched a ton of video, looked at a ton of statistics throughout the summer. And so I've noticed, Dwane, the calls that we talked about being either no calls or not in favor of the offense, which is basically what the motive and the objective is to make sure that the offenses weren't tricking the officials or getting an advantage by jumping in or getting into the path of a defensive player. He kind of nullified the emphasis of defense a little bit, because defense was put at a disadvantage by the offense, because guys are so clever and so smart and so athletic that they can veer off or kick their leg out or do something subtle and really, really appear like it's a foul on the defense. And I've seen that, and I've always said this, Dwane, we've got the best officials in the world. And that's been their emphasis with Monty McCutcheon in their training camp. And that was our charge from the competition committee. Let's make sure we clean those plays up, because it is a bad look for our game. When you look at it on television, it's bad for the fans, and really it's bad for the purity of basketball, of the defensive game. You know, if you're emphasizing defense, because really some of those plays were impossible for defenses to defend.
Just quick follow, Coach. That you ran those conversations on the competition committee, were those intense conversations, a lot of back and forth, or was everybody pretty much on the same page on the gig? I gotta believe there was had to be some back and forth and saying, okay, is that a non-basketball move? No, that is, or that isn't.
No, it was, you know, different opinions. People, like anything else, you see plays and they look different, and until you can slow it down. And unfortunately, we had slow motion, and we could really slow the play down and look at it from different angles. And you could clearly see some of the plays that appeared one way at one angle, that it was a foul on the defense, and then you flip the angles or change the angles, it was clearly. So there was debate. There was healthy debate. And the great thing about the atmosphere that Adam and Byron Spruill has really developed or created is healthy debate. There was nobody in there fighting for their style of play because, hey, I might have a great defender or a great offensive player. It was what was good for the game. And I think that when you go into those meetings with that type of approach, because we're all, it's our game. You know, it's a, you know, we have to be the protectors of the game and make sure it's going in the right direction. And all the coaches, the players, you know, we had Chris and Kyle Lowry on there, and Kyle is one of the best at drawing fouls. And to his credit, he and Chris were speaking out for what was best for the game.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up with a question from Christos.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
Good, Christos. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Coach, for you personally, what kind of luxuries do you have in the roster a leader like Jeremy Grant, and what did you learn from him through your partnership in Detroit?
With right now, well, one thing with Jeremy is more of a leader by example. He's not a big rah-rah guy, which is cool. It's great, you know, different personalities, but he does it by example, and that's what I've learned through having been with Jeremy for 2 years, where different players lead in different ways. So a positive leadership, a guy that's very talented, a man of not a lot of words, but which is cool. And we've all had guys like that through coaching, but he's been an excellent leader for our young team.
And speaking for upcoming regular season, what would you like to improve through this training camp, and what would you like to maintain after the practices?
Well, one, we want to maintain our defense. I thought our defense was solid against San Antonio. We gave up some threes, gave up some offensive rebounds, but for the most part, our defense was solid. Our transition defense was good, and that's going to be tested tomorrow night in Memphis with their fast team. But we want to improve our three-point shooting. We want to get more up and make more. I think you could ask that to any coach, but that's kind of our goal offensively, is to make sure we continue to increase the amount of threes we get, the quality of threes we get. And so that's our thought process going in these last 3 exhibition games. Win, lose, or draw, we want to make sure we continue to improve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right. We got somebody with a raised hand from Woodward Sports. Yeah.
Yes, Coach. It's Brandon Dunn from Woodward Sports. I wanted to ask you this earlier in the preseason. Earlier in training camp, you spoke of the evaluation going on with your wing players, and that defense is a big part of that. And I know that you said that Josh Jackson is currently doing very, very well, or probably in the lead right now. What exactly beyond defense and three-point shooting are you looking at to further make this evaluation as the preseason continues on?
Well, one is taking care of the ball, and that Josh has done a good job in all those areas. He's really been a leader of that pack in camp just by his play. Really improved decision-making, shot-making. Defensively, he's always been able to use his length and size with that. So it's been great to see Josh make that step of growth, and he worked his behind off throughout the summer, and is paying off right now. So those are the things we continue to look at. Just like you said, the biggest one is, when he gets the ball going down the court, making sure we make the right decisions. Not only Josh, all of us, because we can't go anywhere ranking 27th or 28th in turnovers in this league. So that means, you're just getting that many less shots than the opponent. So, turnovers are never good, and that's something that we really, really have emphasized in our training camp. And Josh has been the leader in that by doing a good job.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all right.